I mean, how many of you have been in the $500 club? Okay. I mean, it can go up and down. You can go out for a little while and then boom, you can pop right back in. I wanted something that we could believe in. Okay, I'm going to move pretty fast because we're running out of time. Don't like to hear that. Don't like to even say that, but we're running low. In fact, I wrote down 3 things that I'm gonna think about here and work on. First of all, I don't even know if I'm gonna need that, Jim.
It's ready if you want.
Thanks, bud. Darren, thanks for your presentation, bud. First of all, a lot of people probably know this and some don't, but Darren is kind of a favorite son of ours. We just, from the first time we ever met him in Knoxville, Katie and I met him when we were here in August of '05, and we just kind of fell in love with this young man, and that's easy to do because he's such a good person. And I guess today when you see young people and they're just really, really good people, I gravitate towards them, and so we root for him like crazy. He doesn't even know how much we root for him. I think my wife almost mentally willed him onto the cruise ship, okay? Because like every time the points would come out, it's like, did Darren get there yet? Did Darren get there yet? And it doesn't take away from the importance of anybody else. It's just that, I don't know, sometimes maybe have you ever watched the cartoon Underdog, that used to swoop in and save everybody? Darren's kind of in some ways, only because we saw him when he started with Nutrisail, and I don't know how long he had been in networking up to that point. I know he was involved with Todd and some of the rest of you and some other companies, but what we've got a chance to see just in the last couple of years is him, go from here to here in terms of personal growth. And today when he stood up here and just really in a very neat way presented, that alone is worth so much in so many ways. So anyway, thank you, Darren, for that. And he talked about a list. He said on one side is one dugout is the list, and in the other dugout was the leadership, correct? The list is something that, old school as it might sound, you really need one. Everybody needs one of those. And I want you to do this. I want you to think about this. And I'm going to touch on something that I started to hit on earlier. And that is when your fear starts to kick in, or when the stakes get better and they get higher, then the fear sets in. The more chance there is for a really big gain. I like that graphic where it says no time to be timid, and the guy's taking the big step. The bigger the step and that we're about to take, the bigger the gain possibility, then kind of the bigger the risk, because maybe people sense that that's because if it doesn't go our way, then the letdown's going to be bigger too. And I want you to know that forget about that. As far as the letdown, in our kind of business, there is no let down that way. It's next case, okay? If somebody doesn't want to work or play or go with us or use our products, it's simply next case. We did what we were supposed to do, and that is we gave them a shot at it. What I want to do is share with you a personal experience that some of you might resonate with, and this happened to me early on. And I think in many ways, even though there's been a lot of experience in here, I think there's a whole lot of people, not just in this room, but rooms that would be across America that haven't made a lot of money in network distribution yet. I think there's lots of folks that haven't really made a big swath yet, not a big cut yet. Some of you have, but a lot of you haven't. And I know that there's some things in the growth part of this industry that I can remember like it was yesterday, even though I was young, and I did start pretty young. I was, 19 or 20 or so when I got involved in this, and you don't see a lot of that today. You don't see a lot of 19, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, get involved with it. And some of you think, well, that's because y'all are older, and this demographic with Nutrisail is a little bit older. It's not even millennials. It's not even Generation Xers. It's older people. careful now. That's wiser. I already spelled that out. It's wiser, not older. I remember when I was just getting started, I didn't know all of my powers. I had no idea that I had powers. And how many of you have ever had your cards read? Okay, like a card reader. How many of you have ever been to a fortune teller? How many of you ever watched on TV where some of the psychics and stuff do their thing? See, I did not know until I got into, the first real business, the first real sales business. I didn't know that I had psychic powers, but I did. It's pretty valuable too. Let me tell you how that worked, because Jared triggered really not only a memory but a thought. But back to the days when I was super psychic, it saves so much time when you are. Like, for example, I can remember being in a business where it actually required a demonstration. I would go to people's home, and I would be sitting outside in my little truck. And what's really neat is I didn't even have to get out because I knew they weren't there. Now, it didn't matter that all their cars were there. It didn't matter that the kids, 2 of them, came out the front door. I knew they weren't there, the people I came to see. So I was able to just leave and go on about my day and my business. Talk about valuable psychic powers. I didn't even have to waste my time going in to present what I had. Now, where that really came in handy too is when I then started to learn how to develop a names list, because I was the best in all the land. In fact, if we would have had contests based on who had the best names list, winner right here, grand prize winner, I would have gone on some cruises if that could be based on names lists. How many of you have a good names list? Mm-hmm. Mine was big, and I would sometimes amplify it by going through the yellow pages, okay? You could go through a phone book and pick out certain names that appealed to you and put those on your list too. And because when they said, hey, get your names list down, hey, I wanted to fit right in. What really came in handy, though, was when with the psychic powers, is when I started to plan, my days. And I don't know what you do with your list. I don't know how often you go over it and massage it and check names off, that you've talked to. And I developed this power so much I didn't have to get up early and go to work. I don't know how early you get up, but I would get up around 10 a.m. And I would get to my desk, which was pretty simple. I didn't have all the stuff. And then I would pull my list out, and this is what happened, okay? This is where the psychic powers are so valuable. I could start to go down the list, and without even making any calls or doing anything, I could tell who would be interested that day and who wouldn't. You're thinking, how do you do that? And I did, just something. I don't know whether it was the way that I would touch their name, but I knew that this isn't exactly the right time to approach them, or I knew that they're probably on another vacation. What was really cool is it didn't take me very long to go through the whole list, and then I was pretty much done for the day. Lunch was right around the corner. And then after lunch, then I would go to where all the other psychics went, the office supply store. The office supply store is where psychics went because they just needed one more thing to get organized, okay? They just, like, sometimes I would be there and all I would need is the paper clip holder. If I had one of those and I could go get that in my office installed, then I would be ready to really get going the next day and hit that list again, right? Just needed to be more organized. And I did. I saw other psychics in there, other people that were scared to death, okay, of rejection and everything that went with it. And they also had gone through their list, and then they had early lunch, and they were over there where you had if you could just get a little more organized. some of you are still getting organized. Okay, some of you are. I really was quite amazed. Here's how effective I got at being a psychic. After a while, I developed the ability not just to go through my list, but if you were to come over to work with me or I drop by, I could help you go through your list just as quick, okay? And so in doing that, I would help all of my group really, really make some time, okay? And really figure some things out and also get their day organized. And I was a broke psychic, okay? The day came where I couldn't drive up to the people's home and exercise my powers because I had no gas, okay? I literally had no gas in the car. And I guess I'm here today to tell you that as incredible as it was to have all of that power, crystal ball power, I called it later, it'll take you out of this business called Nutrisale or any other business quicker than anything else, okay? Because that fear of talking and making contact and approaching and stepping out of that tremendous, tremendous comfort zone that we've developed it can be overwhelming. Okay, so my message is, folks, you need to crush the crystal ball, okay? You need to throw away the tarot cards, and you need to start to lose psychic power when it comes to who you're working on. And I'm thinking that some of you are pretty psychic right now. How many of you have psychics in your group? Like, want to have a button that says, I sponsored a psychic? Yeah. Not making any money, but wow, they're sure happy. They have a new names list that they can absolutely see who's not interested. And so I submit to you, lose the psychic powers, folks. Go back to the way you were before you got afraid. And then start to make a move. And you know what? That's what happened to me. I actually had a choice to make. I either had to go do this or go do something else. And you know what? Honestly, you're going to come to that point too. I want you to know this. I really, really want you to be part of us and part of this thing as it grows, but you're not going to be if you don't make some money here. Sometimes I do. You know what? Thank God we can still sit in a room together and talk about making money. There's countries where you can't do that, okay? There's powers in this country that would like to really quell that. There really are. The fact that we can sit around and talk about gaining strength through becoming more financially independent, because the more financially independent that we become as a group, the more power that we have to put into any direction we want to. Broke has no power, okay? It has none. So I am thankful all day long. And if some people want to leave the meetings that I'm in and say, oh God, all the Nutrisale guy talks about is making more money, then so be it. I'll be that guy. I'll be that person. I certainly would rather have you come together and talk about that than a lot of other crap people talk about today all day long, well into the night. Yeah, sometimes those people should take a knee, huh? For sure. So I just want you to know that we are as a company and as a person, and one of the reasons that this plan works like it is because I've been at this for a long time, most of my life. I've not done anything intelligent except to be in the people business, okay? Even when I tried to get out, it didn't take very long, and I wanted to be right back in there because I actually like this. I actually like people. If you find somebody that doesn't like people, then they're not going to do very well here. You actually have to embrace that. And there are people that don't like other people, and they're not going to be strong candidates. Now, people that are afraid, that can change. That's one of our biggest jobs. One of our biggest jobs is to teach people not to be afraid of themselves. Now, when Carrie was up here, she talked really, I think, really about what her why was. What I want to do is then take a dovetail off of that, and I want to tell you what probably the most important thing is to you if you're going to be a significant and an effective manager of people. And that is, you need to understand that this has very little to do with you. Okay? This doesn't have to do with you. It doesn't mean that you don't have to establish your motivation first, as Carrie did. That's critical. I mean, you're not going to be effective at helping anybody develop anything for themselves or anybody else unless there's something in it for you. You won't do it. You won't do it. You've heard this before. This is a cliche. We talked about this in Fayetteville for just a little bit, and I used to have a really great graphic. I don't know where it is, but this is an old one, but you'll relate to this. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't what?
Make it drink.
You can't make the horse drink, can you? I mean, you can take him by the reins and you can take him down, but if the horse is not ready to drink, they're strong, aren't they? I mean, even if you try to push the horse's head into the water, it's not going to do it. I mean, one move and they've got you handled. You can't make the horse drink. We lead a lot of horses to water sometimes, don't we? Any of you that have enrolled a lot of people already in Nutrisail or anything else have led people to the water, but that doesn't mean they're drinking yet, does it?
Right.
Do you want them to drink? Do you want the horses to drink the water, the Nutrisail water? I do. I want them to drink the Nutrisail water because, first of all, we sprinkle these great products in the water, and then that makes them really good. It makes them healthy. The other reason that I want them to drink the water is because I want them to be able to feel what we're starting to feel, and I want them to be a part of what we're starting to be as a movement in motion that on our own terms can start to set a lot of people free. So how can we make more of these horses drink the water? And this is going to be really, really important. How can we do that? How can we make that horse drink? I contend this. I say we put salt on their food. What do you think? What if we salt the horse's food? Then the horse may run to the water. At least they may guide you down there where you don't have to pull them. They might just really be ready. Do you think if the horse had a lot of extra salt on its food, it would want to drink the water?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, how do we salt the horse's food? Well, that's where you and I now are in charge of finding out not what we want, but what they want. Okay? What do they want? Those things that they want, that they can get excited about, that you can find a little bit of emotion there, that's the salt that will cause them to start to drink the Nutrisail water. Okay? We have to be believable. That's why Jim did a whole presentation and ended up at $500. I mean, there's probably some people out there that if they just see part of that will say, oh, Nutrisail's the bottom feeders of the industry. They're only after $500 a month. Yeah, right. You need to look at Nutrisail again then. Because what we're really after is something that will cause you to start to drink the cool waters of Nutrisail and start to grow. And we know this. If it doesn't look like that water is reachable for you or doable for you, or in any way that water looks contaminated, you're not going to drink. So guess what we do? we work in realms of $500. And so I want you to pull your pad out right now that I gave you earlier. And I want you to open that pad to a brand new sheet. And I want to start to salt your food a little bit. So I want you to answer this question. If every month, you pick a day, I don't care. Pick one day out of the month, and every month on that day, a Nutricel is going to deposit into your checking account $500, same day, same amount, every month. I want you to write on that pad, right now, today, what would you do with that $500? What are you going to do with it? Okay. Stephanie, what did you write down?
Make my car payment.
Your car payment. Okay, I love it. I love it. I mean, who would not want to drive a Nutricel company car? If Nutricel could do that, in fact, add your insurance in, okay? Mm-hmm. Is that included? Yeah. Beautiful. Your payment and your insurance. What did you write down, Darlene?
Pay bills.
Huh?
Pay bills.
Pay bills, okay? Like, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And by the way, I want you to know this, folks. If I'm going to sponsor you, this is the first talk we're going to have. We're not going to talk about bee products. We're not going to talk about bee-driven marketing plans. We're not going to be talking about how great this financial vehicle Nutricel is. Not if I sponsor you. That won't be our first meeting. My first meeting is going to be, what do you want? What really is going to turn you on? What is going to make you start to do this? What is going to so motivate you? Because I want you to know this about motivation. I can't give that to you. Todd can't give you motivation. Some people say, oh, he's so motivating. He's a great motivator. Maybe that's because you're susceptible, but the only person that could possibly move you off of top dead center is you. You have to supply that motivation. You have to put something in place in writing that you start thinking about more than all the reasons why not. Rather than all the things that are wrong today, rather all the things that are missing today, you've got to get some things down that you don't just visit once in a while. This is something that you preview every single day. These are the things, as she said, you take pictures of and you throw them on the fridge or you throw them on the bathroom mirror. These are the things that you want to program yourself for, rather than all of the other empty things that we spend occupying our mind every day. Let's start to put down some things that we want to get done, and let's get after those so that we can then do some other things. So you want to get rid of some bills. You know what? With $500 a month, you can start to knock some stuff out, can't you? And if I'm the guy that's your enroller, and I'm anywhere close to you, if not, we'll do it by phone. But I'm going to know more. I want to know what is the magnitude of this bill paying that we're talking about. Like, I'm going to find out, okay, how much do we have to do? I want to know. If I'm going to work with you, I want to know what the score is. What did you write down?
I wrote a few things down.
What's the first thing you wrote down?
We need a new AC.
Okay, a new air conditioning system?
So I put, and I want it to have the air purification thing in it and a dual zone, so it's like a $11,000 system.
Okay. You know what? We're not far away from being in line for that ourselves. And we have two big ones that power our home. And they're about $11,000 each, the way you described it. Yeah. But that's about a $500 a month payment, isn't it?
If I were to finance it, but I want to.
Okay, you want to pay cash. But if you needed air today and you could finance it, $500 would
cover it.
Suddenly make you so much cooler, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What did you put down, Susan? Well, I don't know why I call you Suzanne. I guess I think it sounds cool, but you probably think, what an idiot.
It's fine.
I'll just go Susan. What did you write down?
Debt.
Huh?
Just lower our debt.
Lower your debt. Are these credit card debts?
No.
Well, I only asked that because I know about credit card debt.
Home and auto.
Home and auto, okay, okay, good, good. Now I want you to turn that page, and I want you to write down, if you already got rid of and paid off the first thing you wrote down, now what would you do next? Go ahead, what would be number 2? You already wrote several things, didn't you?
A tummy tuck.
How's that?
A tummy tuck.
What was it?
I lost a lot of weight. A tummy tuck.
Tummy tuck, okay,
When
okay.
I get to my goal weight, I know I've had 3 C-sections.
Awesome.
I know that's gonna have to happen for me to have my goal body, and so I might sound.
So what, Darlene, did you write down second on the second sheet?
To get my truck fixed.
To get your truck fixed. Sweet. What do you want to do to it?
It needs a new motor.
New motor.
And yeah, I would get a new car, but it belonged to my dad. And
Now you're
he
talking.
passed away, it left-
Now you're
it was
talking.
left to me, and
Now you're talking with
So
something
it's
I can
getting
really
fixed.
work with here. It's your dad's truck. You don't want to get rid of that.
exactly.
It was your dad's. I can work with that a lot because now you have some emotion. If you find something that people can have some emotion about, then game over. Fact, nothing great will happen until there is some emotion. Like, you don't have to look too far for emotion on an air conditioning system, especially if yours is toast. I mean, it rolls off your forehead, doesn't it, the emotion?
Summer was horrible.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure. As a sponsor, as a manager too, because if you're going to enroll people, you're also their manager. This isn't just like a little protocol where you have to have a sponsor. Yeah, you do have to have a sponsor. Somebody has to be your enroller. And I know that we don't often have sponsors that maybe go to this length, but I take sponsoring really, really seriously, folks. That's why right now I'm not doing a lot of sponsoring. I'm really not. This is my guest that drove over from Virginia, 323 miles he drove to be here. You know what? Chris, I didn't even prospect Chris heavy. I looked down one day and he had seen enough of us, I think either on Facebook or heard from somebody, and he just decided to try the product on his own. He went on and enrolled and tried our product, and as soon as I saw his name, I went, God, could this possibly be the same Chris Smith? Because there's more than one. There's 3 million Chris Smith. Not quite that many, but they're working on it. Those are 2 pretty common names, especially the Smith part. Not leave out Chris either. Well, I went, God, when I saw CJS Virginia, I knew it was him. And the reason maybe I wasn't going after him is because if I don't have time to do what we're talking about right now, I'd rather you be working with somebody that did have time. And so I want you to know this. You find out what your people want, because the way this system works is these figures that Jim put up here through the NutriShell plan, those don't happen to you until somebody else wins. Okay? That's what I like about this system of network distribution or MLM, whatever tag you want to put. It's a very fair system because the sponsor doesn't win until somebody else wins. So the sponsor should want somebody else to win pretty good, pretty fast, pretty strong, pretty all the time. And all I know is that for you to have a chance to win, you've got to get your food salted. You've got to drink the water. You've got to get the motivation in place that will cause you to do things on your own without me around or anybody else. This has to start to become believable to you. I believe that we can, if you're talking to me and I think you're looking at a goal right now that's not believable, we're going to figure that out. I might even tell you, what would you do right before that, okay? Is there anything before that? I know it was in Fort Lauderdale. This is again, I can remember some things, so I'm not totally without memory. Fort Lauderdale, it was in the middle of Shape Right Gym, and there was a girl on the front row, and we were in this section on goal setting, and we were in this section on what do you want, and she says, I want a new Jaguar. Okay, that was her goal right now, a new Jaguar. Well, even then, it was a lot of money, and I thought, there must be something just before that you need to take care of first. And I said, really? I said, okay. I said, what color? Well, she really didn't have an immediate answer, which told me this was something that she thought might sound good with all the people in the room, but probably had no idea what having a new Jaguar would be like. And I said, what about some of the features on the inside? You said you're going to have the seats tickle you in the right places and all that shit. And then I asked her, I said, right before you take delivery on that Jag, is there anything else that you really need to take care of first? And it got pretty quiet and it got pretty serious, and she actually started to cry, and she said, truthfully, she said, I need tires. I need tires on the car I have now. She says, I don't even want to put my kids in this car because it's unsafe. Mm-hmm. And again, I said, okay, now we're getting somewhere. I said, the tires might want to come right before the Jag. What do you think? And so I am going to work with you, but we're going to work with something that we need to do now. And here's the beautiful thing about this, folks. If we start to knock things off that you want, now suddenly you have found a system that can deliver you to where you want to go. And the more of these short-term things that you can get out of the way, like the debt and the car and this, then all of a sudden you will have a group of goals move up into the short-term range that were back here on the back burner for long-term. And now these are things that you're getting to concentrate on. And by now, you're going to start to knock these off even faster because you're starting to believe in you. Now you're starting to believe in the operator of this system. That little compact thing that I gave you, do you have that still with the mirror in it? Okay, open that up. Open that. I didn't give you that just because we had a whole bunch and I needed to get rid of them. I gave you that because I want you to do what Darlene's doing right now, and that's take a good look at the person in that mirror. I want you to start to get really, really jazzed about that person as the person and the spirit and the talent and the ability that can take you anywhere you want to go. That's the person. That same mirror that you're looking at now, you've got a bigger one at home. And you need to start to spend some time looking in that mirror and telling that person that you see how absolutely incredible you are. You really do. You need to start to do that. And folks, it's not going to be easy for some of you to do this. We call this the mirror technique. We talked about this on a call a few weeks ago. It was first put out by a man named Maxwell Maltz in a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. But the mirror technique is one that my mentors put me on when I was way back in that 19 to 20 year range. And you know what? It helped save me. It helped turn the switch on for me. It helped. It wasn't everything, but it helped. And it was whole hard for me because I had such a poor self-image, and that's the only thing holding you back. The one reason why we're susceptible to fear is because we don't believe we're worth it. We don't believe we deserve it. We don't believe because of all the circumstances that we've been fed that we should believe on why we don't have things. Weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, born on the right side of the tracks, didn't have this, didn't have that, then that's why we don't have. When you start to dispel all of that and figure out that the person in those mirrors has all the capabilities of anybody else to have whatever you want, when you start to actually believe that, it's going to be outrageous what starts to happen in your life. It's going to be crazy fun. What starts to happen in your life. And if you wonder why I like doing this, is because I want to be around for it. I want to be there when that starts to happen. It already is taking place in Nutrisale. I want it to happen to you on purpose, by design. I want that to happen to you. And you know what? It isn't some big thing that just happens. There are no big deals. There really are no big deals. Big deals happen when you take care of all of the little things first. And when you take care of all the little things, the big things happen automatically. They do. Watch what happens. Watch what happens when you get so comfortable that you can do the mirror technique in public. Where you can open that up. Let me see that. Let me see yours. Did I take yours?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me borrow yours. How do you do it?
Blow on it.
Turn.
It's psychic.
Hold the B straight and open it like
Don't
a
hand me
compact.
one of those closed.
It's psychic. There.
See, when you can go, lucky mirror, okay? Lucky mirror, baby. Look what you scored today. Now, sometimes people have said, oh, conceited guy. No, it's not conceit. Self-image and conceit are entirely two different things. Conceit is a disease that gets all over everybody except the guy that has it, okay? And the person that is conceited is the one that has the poorest self-image, okay? But what you've got to do is just be able to look in there and say, what an outrageous leader you're going to be today. Watch what happens, check in with you later, and give you an update. I'm saying if you can start to talk to yourself, folks, and then not care who's around me, make no mistake, when I first started doing this mirror technique, oh, it was so sucked. I hated it. I hated myself for even trying it. I really did. It was like my first appointment with the mirror like this. First of all, everything was out of the house. I had rode with two other guys at the time, my brother Dan and my friend Steve. They had to be gone. We had a whole dog. The dog was put out. The last thing I needed was dogs out there telling other dogs that Austin was doing the mirror technique. I did. That thing went through my mind. I'd like, get out. And so my first appointment went like this. Oh, hi, you're really great, bye. And that was it. It lasted about 12 seconds. And these people, though, these mentors we had, they stayed with us. They followed up. They kept on us. And they even helped us write things that we didn't believe about ourselves, how good we are and how capable we were and how much we deserved it. We actually wrote them out and then read them in the mirror. And it sounded really canned because it was. And the reason that it's hard, folks, to do this is because you don't believe. That's why it's hard. That's why it's hard to say these great things about yourself and what you can do and what you can accomplish, is because you don't believe it. When you do start to believe it, then comes the magic too. I guess that's where the magic of believing came in. That's a pretty Claude Bristol, awesome book too. I can't be with you all the time to make sure that you do the mirror technique. All I can do is give you one that you can carry around and whip it out of your pocket or your purse anytime you think you need to, and talk to the mirror and be careful what you say to the mirror. Okay? I don't know how many of you will take me up on this. I hope anybody that wants to succeed here will do that. I know I'm just about out of time because you've got another speaker that's really, really ready to polish this training off today. I want you at $500 plus really fast. You're not going to stay at $500 long. Okay, you're not going to do that. I can remember when the Whitneys had a goal to get to $500 a week, or $500 a month. And it didn't take very long, but wow, have they ever zoomed past that? But the reason is because their group is starting to be decorated with people making at least $500. And as those people in their group start to decorate their groups at $500, can you imagine what's going to happen with them? It keeps going up. Now $500 a day is within their reach, okay? $500 a day is coming into focus. That's what they're starting to say in the mirror now, is $500 a day. I want to talk to you about some business, and it's the part of our marketing plan that was not on Jim's presentation today. At least it's not in the PowerPoint part. It's a part that if you go to your back office right now and you go to shop and you go down a few, it says AR, okay? That stands for Authorized Retailer, okay? How many of you have seen that part of the back office, okay? That's where you can buy our products in quantity and get a lower price. Okay, we're going to be changing that, and it's going to be called cash in cases. Okay, cash in cases, because it's a little bit confusing now. There's actually a lot of people that don't think they are able to order that way. That's number one. They think you have to be a brick and mortar business or an owner, or where people walk in somewhere, but that's not true at all. Anybody can take advantage of cash in cases. Okay, here's why I think you need to at least put this on the front burner, okay, and let it boil a little bit and see if it makes sense for you. It can add so much profit to your business. You want to zoom to $500 a month and beyond, then start to consider this, because I'm going to use, I'll just use Be-Lite. This is still our flagship product, and this one is now really close. These two are really close in terms of sales. The Be-Lite Extra has got a place of its own now, and so I'm just going to use these, and this works the same for any of the products. But when you buy a case of this, is 60 count bottles. There's 14 in a case, okay, and the price when you do that goes down to $33 a bottle, okay. And so the retail price on this is $69.95. The non-brand fan price is $69.95. So the brand fan price is $59.95. Now, as a company, we don't tell you what price to sell this for. We definitely would discourage you from selling it anywhere below brand fan price. But one of the beautiful ways to get a brand fan, if you really want one, is to show them what the non-brand fan price is, okay? The other thing there is you're missing out on business every day in so many ways by not being prepared for business. Okay. Now, earlier I was telling you about when we were over in Fayetteville, we went out to Linda and Willis's one night on Friday night, and she made this totally illegal German dinner, and the illegal part is it went way over the 5,000 calorie per person mandate that we had placed. It was really a magazine ready, this dinner table and everything that went on that night, and really crazy. And on the way back to the hotel to get ready for the meeting the next day, I saw that big billboard that said whatever bank it was, and if you put so much money in CDs for 6 months at least, they would pay you 1%. Okay, and I had to do a double take. I was like that horse. I don't get it. Okay, I'm confused. I was really confused. How could you, first of all, afford a billboard if you're only paying 1%? I mean, I thought it was a Halloween joke or something, but it wasn't, because 1% is apparently high right now in those financial markets. Okay, so I want you to consider this. I don't know, and it's not my job to know what you've got, but if you've got money, if you've got some money, if you've got $500 or you've got room on a credit card, you need to strongly consider getting you some product on hand. Think about this. What if you bought that case of Be-Lite, let's just say you got this. By the way, you can also buy a split case where you get 7 of each of these two. So if you have both markets going on, now you're prepared for both. And there's a reason why you want that, because there's nothing more powerful in the world than having both of these to offer in the form of an alternative choice, okay? So rather than finding out if people want to use this or not, which one do they want to use? Do you prefer the B-Light or the B-Light Extra? You can even have a total stranger and use this alternative choice. You can have people that aren't even thinking about this, but you could actually open a conversation by something like this. Excuse me, I don't know if you use energy products or not, or if you do anything, especially of the natural kind, but if you were gonna use one, do you think you would use the extra strength or just the regular version? Which one would you use?
I'd have to try the extra.
The extra? So if you were ever going to try something like this, wouldn't it be the best time?
Well, looking at you, it'd probably be right now.
What if you weren't looking at me? Yeah, I love alternative choice. I love either or. Then whatever answer you get is going to be 2 thumbs up, correct?
Yep.
So you might want to get the case that has both kinds if you're going to sample both kinds. And then think about this. What if you got this case today, and by the end of November through the holiday season starting, what if your case was gone? What if 14 bottles were gone? Now what have you got left? Now you have about $900 and some that you're holding. And you take half of that and pay off the case, and now you still have over $400 profit. Walking around money. Hip National. Flexibility. Call it what you want. How many of you could use that kind of cash? Because now, each time you merchandise a bottle, instead of the 15% referral bonus when you don't touch product, now you make double. You can make anywhere from, again, depending on what your selling price is, you can make just under 100% return or just over 100% return. That's up to you, whatever you want to do it. What if you did that? That's in 1 month. That is a 100% return in 1 month, folks. Okay, now let's think about this. What if it didn't happen in a month? Is it still a good investment? Mm-hmm. What if it took 2 months? Okay, now that's a case every 2 months. Okay, that's 100% return every 2 months. If you did that throughout the year, that would be a 600% return on that $500 for the year. Now you've got to think about, yeah, but I don't know if I want to give up that 1%. You better get your mirror out. I think you're going to need some more mirror work here. Okay, if that's even a decision. Okay, now let's really go downhill fast. What if you became a little sluggish and it took you all year to move one case? You were moving along at a pretty good clip of about a bottle or so a month. How many of you can believe that? Okay, 2 of you. That's good. This is a motivated group. I'm glad to be here. Okay? Some of you can't believe you could only sell 1 bottle a month. It would take a lot more than that. But what if you did? What if it took you all year? That's 100% return on your investment this year. If it took you all year. Here's some other reasons, and even bigger reasons, why you need to think about getting some product on hand. It will open your eyes and your ears in a way that there's no way you can fathom until you do it. Because right now, if you don't have product and you don't have enough samples, you have so many prospects that are all around you. They're shouting at you. They're right in front of you, and you can't see them or hear them like you could if you were prepared for business. You get a piece of product on hand and wait till you see. I used to do a training that said inventory clears cataracts, okay? Cataracts are that white stuff that grows over your eyes where you can't see anymore. if you get some product on hand, those go away, and now it's like you've got people everywhere that need this product. Suddenly you do. You have it, and you now have a reason to tell somebody. Also, everywhere you go, you hear people talk about how tired they are. You hear talk about how that nothing fits anymore, how they're gaining weight. You hear all of this, but you don't hear and you don't see until you have this. That's what I was talking about earlier today when I said you're going to need to find some ways to get yourself committed. Okay, because we don't have those mandates. We don't belittle people if they don't do this, and we don't make them feel small. We leave that up to you. We figure that, these are your decisions. What I would be remiss, though, if I did not point out to you things that have served me super well and that I would never be without. Here's why I would never be without products. First thing I've done ever, and I haven't been in a lot of opportunities, but any one I've ever been in, the first thing I did is I found money to get product because I can make money fast that way. If I sample you, if I hand one of these out to you today, and by tomorrow afternoon you're like, I need some. This stuff's great. I want some. Ever had anybody like that? All the time. You'll have even more of those if you have some of this. Guess what? I want them on this product now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell them their first order right out of my inventory. And while I'm there, I'm going to set up their brand fan account and help them get it all ready for them to order next time if they want. If they don't, they can come back to me, which brings up reason number 2. There's a lot of folks that don't want to order online today. They're leery. The credit card fraud's got them unnerved. There's a whole lot of reasons why they don't want to do that. They just want to get it from you. If you've got product, boom, you just scored. And you got paid very nicely for doing that. And what's more, you get paid very nicely every time you reservice them. You just don't have to do anything except drop it off, okay? Or have them come and get it. And every time they do, boom, you're trying to make $500 a month, boom, there goes another 30-something in the pocket, okay? There goes another. It doesn't take many of those to get to $125 a week, does it? Especially when you have a 2-team plan building and you have referral bonus from the people that do order online. Can you start to see that our $500 is believable?
Mm-hmm.
Cash in cases does so many things. But first of all, it allows you to hang your open for business sign. Not only physically, but you'll be more mentally open for business if you have products. In fact, if you have these products and you had, samples of each of these, honestly, what an outrageous way to get started. I mean, if you want to keep this thing really simple, that's all you need to get started. It doesn't matter. The Be Pro and the Be Safe and everything else is going to come into play very, very quickly here. But first things first, let's get people excited and tuned in to what we're doing. Again, I'm just trying to simplify things for you here. I want to leave this gentleman plenty of time. He's worked really hard, and what he says also counts for a lot. And what we're talking about right now, what we've just waded into, folks, we need a couple of days together and some intensive stuff. And if you're wondering where our trainings and our conferences for our company are going to be headed, you're looking at it. We're going to be doing some intensive 2-day trainings where we're going to absolutely pound out everything that you need to know about setting your goals and your objectives and achieving those. And we're going to be working on teaching you how to become really, really prepared with objections, like when somebody says, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? Then you rejoice when you hear that because you know you're about to have fun. And you get to look at them and in all sincerity say, what if it does? What if it did work? What if it did work? You wouldn't want to miss it, would you? Would you? Mm-hmm. Then you have them. Then you got them. How are we going to know if it works in your body? How are we going to know? How's the only way to know?
Try it.
How?
Try it.
Really try it, don't we? Well, if you were ever going to do that, wouldn't it be the best time to start?
Now.
Right now.
Want to put on another 10 pounds first?
Do you want it to work?
Yeah? Or should we get started now?
Now.
Isn't that what you want your prospects to tell you, that it's time to try it now? Now notice, we didn't dump more product knowledge on them right there. All we did was ask a few questions. What if it did work? If it did, you wouldn't want to miss it, would you? If you're ever going to do something that could fire you up and help you get more fit, when would be the best time to start? That question could be used over on the business side too, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If you're ever going to consider launching a home-based business that could absolutely be the beginnings of freedom for you, when would be the best time to start? You can use that. Oh, we better be careful. We're easing into sales training now, and we're just a sharing company. Not me. I think sharing's neat. It's a little Mother Oatsy sometimes, but don't get me wrong. We love the fact that we have the ability to hand these products out almost like May baskets and ring the bell and run. That's how a lot of you would operate best sometimes. Here, want to try something really good? Okay, bye now. And you know what? Honestly, that's not a bad approach, because really, once this is handed off, don't stay around and think you need to have a conference with them and impress them with all your knowledge. They don't want it. They don't want it. You might want it, maybe, or you might want it because as long as you're learning about the products, then you don't have to learn about the uncomfort zone. But I'm telling you here today that as soon as you get simple and you get fast and you understand that people don't want to know about all the B vitamins, they don't want to know about the PEA, they don't want to know the differences in green teas, they don't want to know that. What they want to know is this: what's this going to do for me? What's it going to do for me? And if you can do that quick and fast, you're going to start to double and quadruple your efforts, your sales, your team, and that's what we want. On behalf of our team at the home office and the rest of the field leaders, and certainly from my outrageous and gorgeous wife, Katie, if we don't see you again before the end of the year, we wish upon you and your family an unbelievable holiday season, Thanksgiving, the Christmas season, and then for several of you, we will be waiting to load up on just a fabulous ship that Katie has lined up for us to go get away together for about a week in the middle of January. So from our home to yours, God bless. Thanks so much for your time and your attention today. Can't wait to do this again. Bye.